You know, in the world of K-pop, something as simple as your favorite color could get you totally canceled. Today, we're diving into this really strange reality of color paranoia and how a basic fashion choice can literally explode into a national incident.
It sounds like a joke, right? I mean, really, think about it. How can a color, something you pick out of your closet without even thinking, become a genuine threat to a celebrity's entire career?
Well, it can. Because that is exactly what happened to Karina from the super popular group aespa. Her story is this fascinating and honestly kind of unhinged look at where celebrity culture, fan behavior, and high-stakes national politics all crash into each other.
All right, so let's set the scene. The year is 2024, it's June, South Korea is right in the middle of a super heated election season, so, everyone is walking on political eggshells. And that's when a single, simple social media post lit the fuse.
And here's the crazy part, the speed. It took just 60 minutes, 1 hour, for a photo that looked completely innocent to spark so much backlash that her agency had to completely scrub it from the internet.
Okay, let's just walk through this because the timeline is wild. So Karina posts a picture. She's in a red jacket, and the caption has a rose emoji. Easy enough. But within 30 minutes, online forums are just exploding, accusing her of sending some kind of secret political signal. By the 1 hour mark, her agency is in full-blown panic mode, deletes the post, and puts out a statement. An apology for a jacket?
Now, I know what you're thinking. To anyone on the outside, this seems like a massive, massive overreaction. And, well, it is. But to even begin to understand the paranoia, you have to get the specific political context in South Korea.
So, here's the absolute key to understanding all of this. The two major political parties in the country are super strongly tied to specific colors. Red represents the Conservative Party, and blue represents the Liberal Party. And these aren't just like brand colors. During an election, they become incredibly loaded symbols.
And this all sits on top of this, ironclad rule in the K-pop industry. Idols have to stay politically neutral. It's a business decision, right? If you take a side, you could alienate half your fan base. And that rule is so strict that even the hint of a political stance is a full-on crisis. So what you get is this phenomenon that some people call political hypervigilance. It's basically a culture of intense scrutiny where a really vocal minority of people online act like detectives, just searching for hidden political messages in absolutely everything. The color of a shirt, an emoji, you name it.
Now you might think, okay, that's one crazy incident. But here's the thing. It's not. This whole situation with Karina, it's not a one-off. It actually follows this really well-worn, predictable pattern that's trapped a lot of other Korean celebrities.
Take the popular rapper Zeno, for example. He went through the exact same thing. He faced this intense backlash when some of his content was interpreted by people online as having some kind of hidden political agenda. It was the same cycle: post, interpretation, outrage.
And it wasn't just him. Entertainer Hong Jin-kyung found herself in the same mess, caught in a huge controversy over wearing the color red during an election. It just keeps happening.
In fact, it's so consistent you can literally map it out. It's like a 5-step playbook. Step 1, a celebrity posts something totally normal. Step 2, online forums assign a secret political meaning to it. 3, that story gets amplified and starts trending. 4, the agency panics. And 5, the content gets deleted and they usually issue an apology. It's a textbook crisis management scenario.
So that brings us to the big question, right? Why? Why is this such an extremely sensitive issue? Well, the answer seems to be a mix of recent history, culture, and this really interesting dynamic of control between fans and idols.
Now, to be fair, you have to remember where this comes from. South Korea's shift from a military dictatorship to a democracy, that's still within living memory for a lot of people. So for older generations, political symbols weren't just about party logos, they were about life and death.
But here's a different take. A lot of analysts are starting to ask, is this really about honoring that political history anymore? Or is it actually about control? A fan culture that feels like it has the right to manage every single aspect of an idol's life.
And honestly, when you look at the evidence, it's pretty hard to ignore. Idols are put under a microscope for everything: who they date, what they wear, who they're friends with, any little change in their appearance. When you see it like that, policing for political symbolism starts to look less like its own issue and more like just one more item on a very long checklist of fan control.
Okay, so let's zoom out for a second.
how does the rest of the world see this? Because when you compare the reactions from the local netizens who start these controversies with international fans, it's like they're living in two completely different realities.
On one side, you got international fans who are just baffled. They're saying things like, "Since when is a color political?" or calling the whole thing unhinged paranoia. But then the Korean netizens fire back, arguing that outsiders just don't get the local context, that celebrities have a responsibility, and that they're spotting subtle dog whistles. And this, right here, is maybe the most crucial difference: the burden of proof. In a lot of Western cancel culture debates, people are at least looking for some kind of concrete evidence, a problematic tweet, a harmful action. But in these K-pop controversies, just the interpretation of a symbol can be enough to start the fire.
And one analysis we looked at just summed it up perfectly. When somebody's interpretation alone is enough to damage a person's reputation without any real proof of intent or harm, that stops being about accountability. It crosses a line straight into paranoia.
So what's the big takeaway here? It's that this whole cycle creates this culture of surveillance. It's a really unhealthy environment where public figures, especially idols, are basically denied their full humanity. Every single choice they make is picked apart for some hidden meaning, and that creates an unbelievable amount of pressure.
And that's what this all boils down to. It leaves us with a really tough question that goes way beyond K-pop. In this age of intense public scrutiny, where exactly do we draw the line between holding people accountable and just engaging in cultural paranoia that sees secret threats hiding behind every corner? That's the question we're left with.